Welcome to It's All Comical for July the 23rd, 2021. I'm Russ, your guy in Guam. This week, a few false starts. I actually even had a previous version of this week's video up on YouTube briefly, and some things were pointed out to me that made me realize I needed to redo it, which is very strange because I have very little audience to reach out to at this point, but this is what we're doing. We're in the audience building phase. Lucky you. So yeah, It's All Comical, talking about, essentially this is a supplemental for me as a writer, weekly vlog to sort of discuss about my things in development, projects that I'm working on, and also, documenting a bit. I mean, it's video outreach, right? It's your ability to get to know me, and obviously I'm oozing so much raw charisma that you're going to run straight out and find my writing out on the internet, wherever it is to be found. Currently, what I'm primarily doing that you can immediately access is I'm writing articles that are on medium.com. Again, just under my name, Russ Phillips. So, obviously the articles are not, I may, as time goes by, I'm thinking about doing maybe some short form fiction. I've heard of a thing called, it's like Radish, I believe. Yes, Radish, I think. It's an app, and it distributes short form fiction. That's something I may think to do. Obviously keep tune back in. You never know. I may let you know if I get something developed in that kind of a format. Right now I'm writing articles that are not fiction. Primarily what I write horror, I tend towards the very dark and the very light. I write horror and I write comedy, and I think people that understand and create either or both sort of see those a lot as two sides of the same coin. I certainly relate to them that way. I've done a lot of stand-up comedy, but I very much like to write sort of dark stories as well, and those are the kinds of things that I have in development. But obviously articles are articles, and I began in April with this video series before it evolved to It's All Comical, to talk about, again, my writing. It's All Comical, referring to comics, referring to comedy, the types of writing that I'm into. I think that's a good sort of umbrella under which I can fit the enormity of my talents. Like you give a shit. Look, I'm having fun with this vlog. It's sort of a supplement to those things. So let me point you over to Medium for. I've been writing for a few publications, a couple of publications on Medium. One is The Shadow. I got a couple of pieces over there. And for my things that are really sort of more comedy leaning, I've written a few pieces that have been published to a publication on Medium called The Haven. So I support obviously both of those. Please check those guys out. Follow them. Get me and lots of other great writers doing comedic work. And The Shadow is a little more of a broad life kind of thing. And so, on The Shadow, I've published a couple of pieces. Well, I published at least one piece that had to do, again, as when I started back in early part of the year, I was doing health and wellness in preparation for sort of laying a groundwork to get establish my writing services for health and wellness. So I was going to do some things for doctors and whatnot, and I've had some personal life shifts that have taken us over to where I'm able to focus on my creative writing aspirations, and that's what we're doing now. If you want to have my voice for your medical practice, that's how you're happening to find me, I certainly am available to do some copywriting, but I'm now writing primarily for myself to get my own screenwriting and comic book writing and any other fiction outlets. I talked a little bit in a previous video about turning one of my scripts that I think might actually make a really good novel, a horror novel, and that's something that may be coming down the line. I say it maybe. I'm really kind of working at it relatively serious, but novel is sort of a big project, and obviously that's not coming out anytime soon. So head over to Medium, check out. I've written an article called "Blue Sky Arguments," which had to do with problem that sort of led to the end of my first marriage. It's not just me taking a pot shot at my ex-wife. I think it's a good sort of life lesson sort of thing, told in a humorous way, hopefully entertaining. And then I'm also published another article that I have submitted. It's not on a publication yet, but maybe it will be. Nonetheless, if you look for me, you'll find it called "May Your First Divorce Be as Glorious as Mine." and then I write some things like life sorts of observations and try to draw at least a little bit of a theme or if there's a substantive lesson to it, whatever. I wrote a piece about life here in Guam, specifically having to do with the crazy mating season aggression of the local black drongo. The black drongo is a bird. The article is life lessons from the Micronesian demon birds. Check that out. It's again there's some humor to it, and sort of interesting kind of a snapshot of life as a transplant from Texas here to Guam. And then for straight comedy, again, I mentioned The Haven. I published with The Haven, accepted an article of mine that's pretty much straight comedy. And again, if you find any any lessons in it or anything of a deeper message, then that's just gravy on top of the main reason for writing it, which was the chuckles, and that's how to build a PB&J sandwich without driving a railroad spike through your skull. And so, again, check me out over on Medium. I'm working with my buddy Bill Morrison on some comics and graphic novel work. We're looking to publish something soon. We're going to want to establish our ongoing anthology, which is sort of representative of our work, the sort of, I think, again, sort of darker stories that we're interested in telling together. The anthology series is going to be called Nocturnity Blue. It'll be a webcomic. I'll let you know what platforms to find that. When we get to the point of publishing it, Bill's doing some great artwork for that. The first story is a little piece that I wrote a while back as a short film script that we're adapting for this. It's called Mr. Lily. And then we have some others that are planned, and then Bill has some things that we're also looking to develop, and then again we have a graphic novel, which is going to be something, well, it's called Windy City, and it's kind of a dark science horror fiction, horror sci-fi, take on Elliot Ness, Al Capone, and the Untouchables. So, and we really think that that's going to be really, really pretty cool, and we're looking forward to bringing that to you as soon as we can. It is getting dark out here, and I realize, I'm going to go ahead real quickly. See, this is the nature of It's All Comical. It is done on the fly with no edits. This is me raw. I'm going to get up here and turn on a light in this room because I didn't realize how dark it had gotten. It's gotten a little dark outside. There we go. Now you're like, oh wow, man, I can see you better and crystal clear picture, and oh man, it's like a James Cameron film, the visuals. Documenting the weight loss thing, as I said, has sort of kind of been the ongoing order of business for this series of videos at this point, and it gives me a kind of a piece of raw data to share with you every week. As a weight loss journey is lengthy. It takes again, it's a focused effort. Sort of thing that's kind of emblematic, part and parcel of the overall effort towards self-improvement and taking control of my life at age 50. Right, in a lot of ways, I'm working towards establishing a lot of things that that are good in my life. That it's partly it's an effort that's responsible for why it is that I'm remarried now to a wonderful woman and have a much better marriage. I'm a better person. She's got a better version of me. I'm now a dad. This is our little guy here. He's now 3 and he's going on 4, and I want to be around for him for a good long while, and and these are the sorts of things, I guess, that inspire people to try to improve their lives however they can, wherever they can. If I had a theme for this week, it was to sort of share with you my little mantra. So, again, April the 20th, I started off at 265. Last week I weighed in around 227.7. This morning, the scale is not, I talked a bit about in the last few weeks since my birthday, which is July the 2nd, which is also the mid-year. Half of 2021 is gone. It's also Lindsay Lohan's birthday, so, many other things other than my birthday going on July the 2nd. July the 2nd, this is the mid-year. So if you've got any, New Year's resolutions or things you wanted to accomplish in 2021, you have screwed away half the year, and you need to get on it. And buy Lindsay something really nice, would you? So this morning I weighed in around 225 point and change or whatever. Scales are wonky animals. I've complained a lot about scales in the last several weeks since beginning this whole thing. The one thing that I will say is that it gives you a broad indicator, whether you consider the scale to be accurate from day to day. I talked a little bit previously about my wife and I having invested a little bit of cash in the new map. I think for us, for sure it's the logging our meals, logging weight on a daily basis, logging, activity, exercise, whatever, keeping track of data keeps you, has been very effective in keeping me on task. It points out to you like, hey, you're preparing to really overeat today. And those sorts of things. I think it's been very helpful for all of that, but I think it's, the new map is crafted by psychologists and where it's maybe a little less helpful for me. I mean, there's some very good psychological tips that they give you, but I think overall, psychologists have to approach things from a psychology point of view, and therefore the thing tends to feel like, if you're overweight, well, my gosh, that has to be because you're masking a ton of psychological, mental, emotional baggage, and you're an emotional wreck and psychologically destroyed and coming apart at the seams. And we're here to put you back together through all of these fun little exercises. The course, there's kind of some coursework, which again is somewhat applicable, but then, gets a little bit tedious. And as I say, I think, for myself, I'm an overeater. I enjoy food. I eat because, I've eaten a poor diet because it's yummy. I mean, it's really, I'm not an emotional eater, and so I'm not going to critique Noom on that, because I realize a lot that is the problem for a lot of people. There are people who eat when they're bored, and they eat when they're. I mean, I guess we all sort of munch when we're bored, but I mean that's not like, oh my gosh, I really should be in therapy for that. It's just that's the sort of thing. It takes awareness. You become aware of it. Hopefully, you quit the habit. My whole mantra for my personal evolution and for the weight loss has evolved to be do the work and trust the results. And if I've got a message for you this week, I suppose that would be it. Do the work and trust the results. That's what's getting me through. That's what's gotten me from 265 to almost 225. So I'm down about 40 pounds, not quite. Since the beginning of taking on weight loss this go around, and the real, as I say, the real thing will be, do I get all the way to my goal? But then beyond that is where life gets interesting. It's in the do these things become part of my ongoing existence? And I feel like they will have to be, because again, this was more motivated as wanting to be an integrated person, when I realized that, look, you're trying to improve yourself in all these areas, and then you're neglecting your health. That's not a good thing, and I can't expect to be there, long-living dad for my son, if I don't take care of my health. All of those things are true, but ultimately, I do have some health-related issues that stem from being overweight, the hypertension, type 2. Diabetes, and medications are only doing so much, really very, very little, and I know it was on myself. So I don't really have the option any longer at my age and with those sorts of health issues to slide back into bad habits with regard to my eating or with regard to taking care of myself. And so I feel like I'm doing good and well on my way there with all of that kind of good stuff. So I think that's kind of wrap things up, really. I talked about Medium. I talked about PM Collaborative. You're brought up to date with what I'm doing in my writing. I hope that my continued documentation of weight loss, if you find these videos, again, I look at these videos as being, at this point, more for posterity. I don't really have a whole, raging, rabid, ongoing fan base watching these. But, if you find these at any point, if you're finding them now, as I'm doing them here in June, July, into August of 2021, or if it's 2031, or whenever it is that, if you've got an interest in me as a writer and as a creator and as a communicator, and you're somebody that's like myself, who's battled weights or whatever your health issues might be. But I hope you find some motivation in my story. That's why I'm putting it out there. Obviously, I think it helps me to be accountable to the camera each week, and thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you will check me out. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the videos, or if I'm at least entertaining enough to see what I'm doing with my writing. And I will see you next week. Until next week, you have a great week. Thank you very much for watching.